come along for this ride, because this one here, you ain't gonna miss, okay? So let's get into it. Welcome to another podcast episode from the Graceful Together podcast. I'm super excited that you are here and that you're tuning in. Y'all, please get ready. Buckle your seatbelts and come along for this ride, because this one here, you ain't gonna miss, okay? So let's get into it. First of all, let's get into these details, honey. You see me, like, yes, it's summertime, but this is super thin. I wanted to do my little cowgirl hat, because I'm like, oh, I think this would be so pretty. Like, I just love this hat. I got this hat, and it really compliments, like, I have short hair. So it really compliments my short hair. Like, I just love this hat. Like, it's versatile. You can wear it with long hair. Like, come on. Anyway, that's not why we're here. So I am super excited about this podcast episode, because, like, if it didn't get you together, if it don't get you together, it definitely got me together. Okay? Like, it got me all the way together. The title, as you know, is This Is Ridiculous. Okay? This is ridiculous. And I'm going to tell you exactly why. So, let me tell you guys. I was talking to one of my friends, and I was talking to my sister, and they were telling me about how they had been praying, like, specific prayers to the Lord, and, you know, just asking him to reveal things in their lives, and, you know, in which way to go, right? So here I am, like, you know what? I'm going to do the same thing, because I feel like God is not answering me in this specific area of my life. And you ever get a feeling like when you do something and it's like you knew better, but you did it anyway? And then you did it and it slapped you on your behind? Like, that's what this was for me. Oh my God. That's why I titled this is ridiculous, okay? Because I felt like that's what God was saying to me. Like, Jasmine, this is ridiculous. You know better. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, you know, I'm praying this specific prayer and asking the Lord, you know, what his will is for me. And so and I knew it was wrong, you guys, because when I said, you know what, Lord, don't beat me for this. Like, don't get mad at me for this. I knew better. Like, I knew better. The whole time I was praying, I knew better. So I'm praying this prayer, and God immediately tells me, no, like, this ain't it. Because you have to realize that when you have a relationship with God, everyone's relationship is different. So someone else's prayer doesn't look like your prayer, and their prayer doesn't look like your prayer. And even though we may pray the same prayers, God's going to know. Like, if you knew better. Like, you knew better than to pray that prayer. Like, you're praying this safe prayer because you're trying to manipulate the situation and you want me to answer you. And if you've been praying about it before and I haven't answered you, why did you think this was going to work? Because it worked for somebody else. So first of all, it was a slap. It was a slap in my face. But I tried it anyway. So I'm praying this prayer and I'm asking this specific stuff. And little old silly behind me, you guys, I literally say, you know, God, I need a confirmation. I need confirmation for what you're saying or what you're showing me in my life. And in order for me to believe that this is really from you. Like, I know I've prayed about it before. I know you've shown me and revealed things before. But this is different. Like, I really need to know that this is something sent from you. So I say, you know, I'm thinking about, okay, well, what can I say that's going to be okay? Like, what is going to just hit me dead smack over the head that's different from all the other things that I've heard 1,001 times before for me to believe that this is from God? So let me tell y'all how crazy I am. I'm sitting here and I tell the Lord, Lord, I need to see it. Like, I need you to give me a vision of what you told me was going to come to pass. Like, I need to literally see it. Like, I don't have to see it in person. I need to see it somewhere. Like, I need a sign of confirmation by seeing that this comes to pass. I know this is how God was looking at me when I said that. Because for one, what is faith, Jasmine? Like, what is faith? Hebrews 11:1. Faith is the evidence of things not what? Seen. Not seen. So what are you talking about? You need confirmation. And the confirmation that you want is a vision? When I already spoke a word. And then let's look at Hebrews 11. Not evidence not seen. So you don't focus on the evidence. You focus on the word that God gave to you about that. The evidence is your faith. the confirmation is the word of God. If you prayed about it and you know that God has showed you this, and I think too for me, I had to get to a point where I felt like, okay, I'm losing my mind. Like, this is crazy. You know, God didn't really, maybe I'm just making all this stuff up. Even though I knew it was real and I knew that it had happened, because in my timeline, it hasn't came to pass yet. I'm just like, okay, God can't be in the middle of this because it has not shown up in my favor or literally at all. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to say this specific prayer because I need God to show me one more time that this is actually from God. And I felt really stupid. Like, I got knocked on my behind, you guys. And it really hurt. I'm going to be honest. I hate, as you guys know, I say all the time, I used to be the fasting queen. I used to fast all the time. And now, to be, I'm going to be 100% real with you because, you know, I keep it real with you. Sometimes, like, I don't fast as often as I used to. You know, I don't do it as much as I used to. And because I think that it's not intentional. I'm going to be real with you. It's not intentional. I don't know. Like, I fast, but not like how I used to, okay? And I think it's because of the things that God used to reveal in my fast about myself. And you know what? I'm going to be real with you guys. Self-criticism is hard. It's really hard. So when I'm fasting and I'm praying about something and God reveals that I'm the issue, I don't handle that too well. Nope, I don't handle that too well. I don't handle it well at all, you know? But I take it, you know, I take it and I try to pray about it and I take it with a grain of salt and try to correct it, you know? And then when I do another fast, God is still working on me and showing me that, you know, you made some progress, but not as much progress. So this is why you're still lacking in this area. So now for me, fasting is just like, okay, it's not something that I can do on a regular because it really, you guys, conviction is real. You know, conviction already beats you up enough. And to fast the way I used to be fasting and to hear all the time that there was just something that I was doing wrong in the midst, I think that kind of beat me up, you know? But now, you know, I fast and I'm praying differently, you know? So it's not always something that I'm necessarily doing wrong. But it used to hurt. I'm gonna just say it like that. It used to hurt. But I have not felt as bad as I did praying that prayer since I've like had one of those bad fasting and God was just like, okay, I'm finna really show you. You're asking me to search your heart and I'm showing you your heart. And when he laid my heart on the table, I was like, ooh, like all that was in here? You sure that don't belong to somebody else? Like, you sure this belongs to me? You might have got me confused. Like, that ain't in my heart. No, I'm sure that's not. Anyways, but that's how I felt, being real. And so I came home and I said to myself, I said, God, I literally in the driveway, I was like, or in the parking spot, I was like, you know, God, I'm sorry. Like, I knew better than to pray that prayer because you know that I don't pray like that. I pray differently. And I'm not trying to manipulate a prayer so that you can answer me because that's not going to give me an answer. It's only going to fall me flat on my behind. And so I knew better than to pray. So I really had to just ask the Lord for forgiveness because I didn't know what came over. I think I just got so desperate. You know, desperate time calls for desperate measures. And I had gotten so desperate, so frustrated to hear a word from God that I didn't care how I got it. You know, it's like, oh, you said you prayed this prayer and you said, what now? And he answered you. And I'm like, oh, you did it too? Well, let me do it. And God was like, it ain't happening. It ain't working like that for you. You prayed about it. I've given you your answer. Now you just need to be patient. And so I felt really bad about that. And so I just had to ask for forgiveness and ask for, you know, just clarity and to help me to wait in the waiting period of the appointed time that vision is going to come to pass in my life. And that's it's hard when you're focusing on that thing and it's not coming. So I told myself that, you know what, in the meantime, I'm going to be focusing and stewarding well the things that God has given me, you know, such as my podcast, such as, you know, just focusing on school and focusing on my job and focusing on being a better me. And in the midst of me focusing on what I'm supposed to be focusing on, the time will just keep moving. And then when it's right, that thing will approach me, you know. And I've been telling myself lately that the very things that I'm trying to attract will find me. They're looking for me just as much as I'm looking for them. So I'm praying that in the midst of me waiting, I don't give up, that I'm still staying focused on Jesus, and I'm staying focused on the things that he's giving me right now to steward well, so that when he adds more unto me, you know what the word says, you know, when he gives you more, be a good steward over what you have, and then when he gives you more, you steward that well, and he adds unto you, he doubles it, you know. So I'm really praying that I can be a great steward, not over just the things that I have, but also with my time. You know, I've been having an issue of time management, and I've been procrastinating a lot, and that's typically not me. But I'm working on that, you know, and I'm just like, okay, this is just another thing I need to do in order to help the time go by, you know. And I don't know when that vision is going to come to pass, but I believe God, and I trust that his word isn't going to lie. You know, it's not, his vision is going to come to pass. And if I'm doing the work, why wouldn't it? You know, if I'm not allowing myself to be delayed anymore, because we talked about in the last episode how we can delay our blessings, how we can lengthen the time that we spend in the wilderness. We're not necessarily shortening it, because we have to go through what we have to go through. But sometimes it may take a little longer if we are disobedient, or if we're doing things that God told us to let go of or not to do, and it can prolong our season. So I really think that it is very important to just continue to pray and seek God in everything that you do, like everything. Because if not, you will find yourself wandering off and you won't even know it. You won't know it until you realize, okay, I've been feeling this way for a while, and it doesn't feel good. And that's what knocked me on the top of my head. Like, okay, I felt this way last year. It wasn't good. And now I'm back here. So I encourage you to search your heart. You know, ask God to search your heart and continue to show you what it is that he wants you to do, and just continue to pray. Pray real prayers, you know, pray prayers with faith. You know, don't pray somebody else's prayer thinking, like, it makes me think about Sierra's prayer. Like, you know how everybody's like, oh, well, what did Sierra pray? You know, she got this good man and stuff like that. And it's like, if we sit here and pray, that don't mean we gonna get the same man she got. We don't really even 100% know what kind of man she got. Now, we hoping that he a good man, you know. Thank you, Jesus. But, you know, you just never know. You know, nobody's perfect. And to be honest, I'm at a point where I'm just like, okay, I'm happy for everybody around me, and I'm happy for what they have, but I'm also thankful for what I have. I'm thankful for the person that God has created me to be. I'm thankful for the blessings that God has with my name on it, specifically for me. And that's also something else. When you get tired of waiting in the waiting season, and you start giving up, and you start questioning, like, okay, God, is this really you, or is this me? And if you start wondering, okay, God, did you really tell me that? And wavering your faith and wavering the word that God spoke over your life, remind yourself that this is for you. This is for you no matter how long it takes. And don't get upset if somebody else beats you to it. Because it can be 10 people before you that gets where you're going. They can get the degree. They can get the relationship. They can get the kids. They can get the house. They can get the car. But what is for you is for you. So it doesn't matter how many more people went ahead of you. You could be the 100th person, but that's still for you. That's still your blessing. Nobody can take that from you, because God appointed it to you. And I think a lot of times we get so overwhelmed. I know I can't speak for you, but I can speak for me. I get overwhelmed thinking like, okay, somebody beat me to the punch with an idea. Like, for instance, I've been doing my podcast for some years now, since 2019, I think. Yeah. I started thinking about it in 2018, and I started working on it in the end of 2018. So I've been doing it for a while, and I thought about doing YouTube, but then I was just like, well, nobody wants to hear a podcast. Nobody, like, that's something you listen to, but just me sitting here interacting, I'm just like, okay, you get to see me, you get to interact with me, you get to talk to me, you get to let me know, you get to see me, okay? Like, and I know that there's a lot of people already doing this, and it was a lot of people doing podcasts back then. It was a lot of people doing the YouTube back then, and it's more people doing it now. But this was my appointed time to do it. I don't worry about what somebody else is doing. I'm happy for you. I'm thankful for you. Thankful that you've paved the way for me to be able to say, you know what? She's doing it. She's doing great. But when God calls me to it, I know that I'll do great as well. And that's what you have to remember, that when God put your name on it, let me tell you something. Can't nobody take that from you. Can't nobody take that from you. God put your name on it. It doesn't matter who got there first. If it's for you, it's literally for you. And it doesn't matter how many other people, you may have 3 lanes and there's 3 people in each lane and you're running at a pace, the next person is running at a pace, and then the other person is running at a pace, and you're all kind of like staggering. You're like, oh, we're running neck and neck, but then this person gets there first, and then you got 2 people, and then this person is last, but you're in the middle, but then they shoot past you. So now you're like, okay, Lord, well, they got to the finish line before me. But if you think about it, you stop at the middle of that finish line, you never make it? Why? Why would God do that to you? Why would he put you in a race for you to stop, for you to fail? He wouldn't do that. Like, he wouldn't do that. So you have to remember that even though it's maybe taking a little longer than what you anticipated, that God is still for you. He spoke that word to you and it will come to pass. Don't compare yourself to the person that you know that's doing it. I feel like my hat is like shifting. I don't know. I can't really see it, but y'all get into this hat. I love this hat. But don't so much worry about somebody else's race. Don't be in competition. Don't think that, oh, because I'm this age, that it can't happen for me. God already written your story, baby. Like, your life is already planned. You're just living it. So anything that happens surprises you. It doesn't surprise God. You're the one surprised. You're the one thrown off a loop. You're the one thrown off a loop. God's not surprised. He sees over the mountain, down the mountain, around the corner. We see the top of the mountain. We see the corner of the corner. But he can see all. He knows what's coming. We have to just get on board with that. Because we don't know what's coming. We think we know. And even if we get a revelation of what's coming, we don't know when it's coming. For instance, the message we're talking about, we don't know. And that's where I got struck in. Because I'm just like, okay, Lord, you gave me this vision 8 years ago, 9 years ago, and it has not come to pass. There's been instances where, I've crossed paths with it, and I prayed about it, and all these things. I'm like, okay, now is the time. And it's like, But then I had to ask myself, okay, Lord, am I really ready for what you've shown me? Like, am I really ready to receive the blessing that you have called over my life? And the answer, to be completely honest, is no. Because I was still standing in places where things were in front of me, allowing me to delay the blessing that God had for me. And now, because I got that revelation, I realized that it was me. And that's why I said it's hard to realize that the problem was me. I'm delaying my own message. Not message, but blessing. I'm delaying my own blessing. I'm standing in the way. I'm 1 step away. But because I'm not 1 step, it takes me 10 more steps. Even though you have 1 step to go, it may take you a few steps to get to that 1 step. Can you imagine being at the front door and not knocking? Can you imagine being at the front door and not turning that knob? Or turning that knob and it's locked? Oh my God. Can you imagine? Like, I don't even want to imagine. But that's how I feel, because I'm like, God, what's going on? Why do I feel like I'm going backwards? And God had to let me know it's you. You making yourself go backwards. Because you keep holding on to the stuff that I told you years and years and years to let go. And it keep coming back around, and like a dummy, I keep holding on to it. Not calling you a dummy, like I said, like me. I'm the dummy. And we've been there, we've all gone through that. We've all done and held on to things. Even like my friendships. I pray all the time about my friendships, my relationships. And sometimes there are people and things that are being held on that we're supposed to let go. And I think that once you realize that, and you realize that everything works together for those of us who love Jesus, Romans 8:28, once we realize that it all works together, even if it hurts, even if it makes you cry, even if it makes you laugh, but it hurts, even if you've seen it coming, but you didn't expect it, even if you try to be in denial about it, it works for your good. It really does. It works for your good. And I'm not just saying that. I'm living it. It works for your good. And you have to believe, again, Mark 11:24, whatever you ask for in prayer, that it's done. Luke 3:33, you speak, call unto God, and he will reveal things to you that you didn't know. So I'm telling you, pray, get in his presence, and continue to seek him, because he's the only one who can give you the real answers that you need. And don't copy a prayer. Don't do something the way somebody else did because you're trying to get the same thing that they got. Because your blessing looks different from theirs, And it's okay to feel like, okay, I'm not going to ever get there. It's okay. That just means you're this close. You're that close. You're this much closer to what it is that God has for you, because now you're doubting it. And sometimes when you have that doubt, the enemy comes in and he starts running that mouth in your ear. But you know what you do? You get on your face and you talk to Jesus about it. You ask him, God, what's going on? What is it? And when he reveals you, you get rid of whatever it is that he reveals to you. If it's you, get rid of what you're doing. If it's somebody else, get rid of that person. If it's a mindset, get rid of that mindset. If it's doubt, if it's lack of faith, increase your faith. Speak. Start speaking over these things in your life. Don't allow the timeline to determine your blessing. Because it doesn't matter how long it took. Because if Jesus has told you that it's yours, it's yours. And I know that's hard to hear, because like, okay, well, he did it for somebody else real quick. Like, I literally said today, there is a prayer that I've been praying for the last week. But there's a specific prayer I've been praying about my life for the last 3 days, and God moved on it. He's been moving on it every day, but he really moved on it today. Like, he moved it out of the way. Okay? Like, once you get serious about God's vision for your life, and you start to crave having that abundant life. Like, I've been telling myself, Lord, I want a life abundantly. Like, I want to die empty. I want to die empty and live full. Like, I want to pour out and do the things that God has created me to do. And I can't do that from a grave. I can't do that watching somebody else. I can't do that pretending that I'm okay if I'm not okay. I can't do that wondering what it is that God called me to do. And in order for you to get those answers that are tailored for you, you have to get in God's presence. And be authentic. Be genuine. That's why I said this title is This Is Ridiculous, because Jasmine knew better. And it sounds better to say Jasmine knew better than to say I knew better, but I knew better. And I did it anyway, thinking that I would get a different result. And I know that they say, you do something different to get something different. But in that case, that was not the story. That wasn't the way to go. And I knew it. I knew better, but I still prayed it. And I still was like, okay, Lord, just show me a sign. I need you to show me this. I need you to confirm. And God was like, what? Like, I ended up coming home, putting on a sermon. I was like, okay, I really don't feel like I heard the Lord, so I'm going to put on a sermon. And, I pray, I repented and stuff like that. And the sermon got me together. Like, it really did. It got me together, and it started talking about these various things, talking about the timelines, talking about how I was focused on the time frame that it was taking. And then I had to ask myself, where did I fit in? And then I also, let's be real, like I said, I was self-sabotaging. And this is a prayer that I pray heavily, that I don't self-sabotage the blessing that God had for me. Because I would hate to be in the way of what God is doing in my life, especially consistently still praying for it. Like, that would be drastic for me to not be able to get where I'm supposed to go because I stood in my own way. So I started praying, and I had to really say, God, am I looking at this because I'm just tired of waiting? Am I looking at this because I'm looking at everybody else find it? Or is it happening for everybody else? Like, I had to really search my heart, and a part of it was just like, I'm just frustrated. I'm tired. But God said, you gotta keep going. You gotta trust me. And when you get weary, lean on me. I can renew your energy. I can renew your strength. God is the renewer of strength. Hello. He renews us. So instead of praying for God to speed up his process, I had to slow down, because we're always in a rush. God's not in a rush to give us the things that we need, because he knows that if he was to give me that blessing today, I would not be able to receive it correctly. And just being real, that's the God honest truth. I wouldn't be able to steward it well. So when I'm praying, while I'm waiting for that to come to pass, for those things to come to pass, I'm waiting and I'm preparing. I'm asking the Lord, continuously search my heart. Continuously help me to not self-sabotage. Help me to keep the things that you're helping me with or blessing me with, so that I can steward them well. And I'm praying that prayer for you. I'm praying that you're able to get in God's presence and you're asking those same questions. God, what do you have for me? Is this a word from you, or is this something that I've told myself? That's also important. Did you tell yourself that this was going to happen? Then you said God told you that? Because if so, I'm sorry, but it's not happening, because God never said it, But my goodness, that message, it got me together. It tore me all the way apart.